How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. There's some interesting things happening today with the stock market crashing again. Bitcoin's actually holding up pretty well. This is the worst quarter for US stocks relative to the rest of the world in 23 years. We have some big buys coming from Michael Saylor, yet people are saying he's not actually that profitable. Right? He would have been making more money if he had bought other assets. I want to give you kind of my thoughts on this as well. Talk about whether the markets can continue to crash and so much more. If you don't mind, hit subscribe so you can see future videos just like this. Also, if you want to trade, there are links underneath the video. We'll talk more about that later. If you do want to go to the Bitcoin conference, you can use the link underneath the video for 10% off the price. It's like that fifth or sixth link down, so definitely check that out. As you can see, the NASDAQ down another 2% today. 2%. The S&P 500 down just 0.8%, but tech stocks just getting smashed today. They're really worried about Trump tariffs. There have been some escalations of the tariff talk, and I talked a little bit about that earlier this morning, so I won't spend much time on it. But yeah, the fact is a lot of people are worried about what's happening in 2 days. They're worried about what's going to happen with the rest of the world. What is the U.S. going to impose? What kind of tariffs are we looking at? Is this going to cause a global shutdown? And actually, I'll play a clip for you later today from Tom Lee talking about this. But take a look. At the same time, all this fear and uncertainty is happening. Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. are investing in a Bitcoin mining company, according to the Wall Street Journal. This is going to be led by them, but it's in collaboration with Hut 8. And apparently it's also going to be like a development company or a strategic reserve development company. So looks like they're going to scale, hold Bitcoin, maybe raise capital, kind of like Mara's doing with some bonds, and stack Bitcoin on the balance sheet. The Trumps can't do anything more in crypto, I think, than they're doing right now. Now, to be clear, to be fair, it's not like we're seeing a lot of publication about all their real estate assets that they're buying, right? It's not like we're seeing what kind of stocks that they're buying or that they're accumulating companies like that. They have so much cash flow coming in. I'm sure they're buying a lot of assets. They're trying to start new companies all the time, but this is really in the spotlight. But still, I mean, they've started and they're growing just about every company under the sun that's related to crypto. So pretty interesting. At the same time, Metaplanet issues 2 billion JPY at 0% to purchase additional Bitcoin. So that's about 135 million US dollars. Okay, pretty big buy for them. I mean, they're accumulating a lot. I don't remember off the top of my head how much Bitcoin they have, but it's significant. MSTR with a huge buy today, 22,000 Bitcoin, almost $2 billion. They bought this for about $87,000 per Bitcoin and achieved a BTC yield of 11% year-to-date 2025. As of 3/30/2025, Strategy holds 528,000 Bitcoin. Wow. They acquired this for about $35.6 billion at 67.5 thousand per Bitcoin. Okay. I see so many people that are bearish right now that are saying, well, that means Michael Saylor's only made about $16,000 per Bitcoin, something like 20%, 25% return. And the bears are saying, well, everyone's saying that Michael Saylor is one of the best investors in the world, and yet he's only gotten a 20% return. What is this? Why is everyone going bananas for this? You have to remember, as a CEO, really, your job is to grow the company, grow the share price. And Michael's done that, right? That's one of the biggest things that the CEO's job, or that's one of the biggest jobs for the CEO, one of the most important jobs. Over the last year, their stock's up 76%. Over the last 5 years, it's up 2,500%. So yeah, if you nitpick from the top, it's down about 32%, but it's a volatile stock. I think a lot of people forget this. Most CEOs just go throw money into treasuries or go reinvest in the company. A lot of companies are actually dead companies. They take their money, they have nowhere to reinvest it, so they give it back to you in a dividend at 2 or 3 or 4%, or they reinvest in themselves and get 8% return on that capital or something. MicroStrategy has been able to grow their balance sheet massively. and they've gotten 20% on that massive balance sheet. They've been able to leverage and still get 20%. So as a CEO, your job is really to return capital or to return value or increase the value for shareholders, which even just over the last 2 years, two years and 3 months, they've been able to do that to a huge extent, up 2,000% since the bear market. So I still would argue Michael Saylor's done a fantastic job. He's bought tens of billions of dollars of an asset, and he's made 20% return on that. Keep in mind, they were like a $1-2 billion company back in the bear market. So you're going to make fun of him that he grew his company significantly. Like his gains on Bitcoin over the last couple of years are multiples of what the whole company was worth a couple of years ago. I think it's just depending on how you look at it. You might be missing what Michael's really doing here. And he's accumulating a lot of Bitcoin. And yeah, you can nitpick that now they're not up as much because the whole market's down, right? How's your portfolio looking, right? Everyone except for gold bugs are down, but gold bugs also have been underperforming for the last 20 years. So I'm not too worried about it. This was a large acquisition too. This was the fifth largest purchase since Saylor bought back in August 2020. And the current market environment is scared. So imagine we get back into a more bullish environment. He's going to have much bigger dollar purchases of Bitcoin. Even if the Bitcoin purchases in Bitcoin go down, there'll be more demand for it. So they'll be able to raise more capital. Now, Bitcoin actually looks fairly bullish today, which is interesting. On a day where the Nasdaq's down 2%, it was down like 2.5%. The Japanese stock market was down 4%. Bitcoin is actually jumping up. It was down at 81,000. Now it's up at almost 84,000. Bouncing off of this trend line. It's fascinating to watch this. And we've been covering this trend line since it got rejected here. 3 rejections, broke out above, support, broke down below it, above it, rejection, support. Now we're moving up. Keep in mind, if you do want to trade this trend line, there's a link underneath the video to Blowfin, to WEEX, to BTCC. Blowfin and BTCC have 10% deposit bonuses. WEEX has up to 800,000 USDT that you can get just depending on how much you trade and how profitable you are. We're in a team, so you can join the team. There's another 10, 11 days before this is over. There's also a link to BitUniX too. A lot of people have been loving BitUniX. It has a really nice UI. But as you can see, Bitcoin looking a little bit bullish. Do people know something the market doesn't? Or like, do the whales know something? I'm not sure. But part of it might have to do with what I talked about earlier today. China scrambling to boost spending as economy slumps. Beijing just rolled out a special action plan to push people to spend more as weak demand drags down growth. This includes income boosting measures, stock market support, and new bond products for retail or small investors. They also announced a bit of a bank bailout. As you can see here, China's biggest state banks are going to raise $72 billion to boost capital. Obviously, China's worried about these banks and the solvency of the banks, so they're trying to boost their cash reserves for any kind of defaults, or maybe just to stimulate, right? Like, hey, we're going to give you $15, $16, $17 billion. Go spread it around. We need to boost the economy. So that eventually will make its way through the economy, find its way to investments, and as liquidity increases, as quantitative easing goes away, risk on assets will perform well, in my opinion. So Bitcoin, I think we're still early, really. I think we're still early in the cycle. Well, maybe the midpoint. But I don't think we've seen the blow off top that some people are saying we already hit. Some people are saying, no, this is the bear market. Just get used to it. I don't think so. I could be wrong. You have to make your own decisions because I am not your dad. I'm not your kid. You have to make your own decisions on what you're going to do with your money and take some accountability for it. But that's just what I'm thinking right now. We have not seen a lot of the blow-off indicators that we've seen previously. And honestly, we haven't even gone up that much. From the bottom of the bear, we went up 600%. But typically we go up much more than that. From the previous cycle, we only went up 60, 70% from the peak. This would be by far the smallest that we've ever seen, the smallest bull market. And it would be a short bull market. And it would also be with the most political backing ever and some of the craziest headlines that we've ever seen. We have a president that's literally saying that they're going to buy Bitcoin. Like, it's crazy. But of course, I could be wrong. Let me know your thoughts underneath the video. Tom Lee video coming out later today. Hit subscribe for that. I'll see you in the next one.